No matter what the topic, there's always questions. And we love getting your questions on our YouTube video and on our podcast. Today, we're going to be answering some of those questions, and we're looking forward to getting into that McCann toolbox and pulling them out. Join us today on the McCann Dogs Podcast.
Oh, if you missed last week's episode,
yes,
we had a fabulous chat with one of our longtime instructors, Nell, so you can check that one out too. She was incredibly entertaining for us, and what a fantastic woman. Alrighty, so on that note, let's talk more about dogs. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, I think I saw you putting some questions in our toolbox, so I'm thinking there's questions in the toolbox.
There are questions. Is it a toolbox or a lunchbox?
It could be used for either.
Toolbox.
It could be used for either.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I remember my grandfather, he used to work at DeFasco, one of the steel companies in Hamilton, and he had a black lunchbox like that, and you'd open the top, and his thermos went in the top.
Okay.
I remember my grandmother putting the things in. It was like a tin lunchbox. Yeah. Yeah, and it was a childhood memory.
I remember those. The name Stanley pops into my head with that. I wonder if that's...
If I make, Yeah, I don't know.
Well.
Yes. So I don't know if it's a lunchbox or toolbox.
It's a question box.
Question box. Yes. So should I start us off?
Yeah,
since
let's do that.
Your lap is full right now.
My lap is full.
Okay. Our first question.
First question of the day.
First question of September.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. Well, it's a big one. A great and interesting video. Thanks. I would like to ask, if you are not walking your puppy before they learn not to pull, to look at you, and to sit at your side, etc., how does this affect their socialization experiences regarding the outside world?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So socializing a puppy can take many different forms. And when my puppies are very young, I don't want to start them walking and learning bad habits.
Yeah, for sure.
If you put them on the ground on a leash, often a puppy might say, oh, look, over there is an interesting flower, and start to pull you.
Yep.
And you follow the puppy. And now the puppy says, oh, you just pull humans. Just go wherever you want, lean into the leash, and they'll follow with you. So when I'm socializing a young puppy, I'll often drive my car or carry them to different places. So I'll put the puppy in the car and I'll drive to maybe a pond that's got some ducks. And I'll carry the puppy out and we'll sit by the pond and watch the ducks go by.
What about a pond with some rusty crayfish?
I would probably stay away from the rusty crayfish pond. Or I might drive to the far corner of a Home Depot or a Walmart parking lot. And then I'll bring a lawn chair and I'll get the puppy out and we'll sit in that far corner. And now the puppy's, hearing noise. They're seeing things in the distance. They're hearing the carts rattle. They're hearing cars.
Yeah.
But we're sitting in a safe area. I'm rewarding the puppy. The puppy's having a very positive experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Socialization, I find, is one of the most confused topics. It's become, over the years, it seems to have become all about letting dogs play with other dogs. And that really is not the purpose of it.
No.
Like, I mean, there are benefits to dog play, for sure. But in terms of going out of your way to find massive amounts of dogs for your dog to play with, that's problematic because it creates a dog who is over-socialized, over-enthusiastic about meeting other dogs. It creates a dog that learns that when they see other dogs, they get to play with those dogs. So then they get really stimulated at the sight of other dogs. And of course, that's problematic because then that becomes reactive dogs. It becomes all sorts of leash manner issues. It becomes all sorts of control issues. It's not an ideal situation at all. What we want our dogs to be as well-socialized dogs is neutral.
Yes.
I want my dog, I want Levon, for example. He just turned 6 months old. How did that happen? Can you tell me that?
I don't know.
I got to put that question in the box.
Right, yeah.
How did Levon turn 6 months
How did my puppy
already?
get old?
Yeah. It's unreal. So, I mean, he's well over the critical socialization period at this point. There's no question in that. Though that happens when they're quite young, in that window before the 4-month mark is all the critical socialization stuff. So what I want to do during that period of time is not have him play with copious amounts of dogs. During that time, I want to expose him to the world. I want to take him to... I took him along with me to one of my nephew's baseball games as an example.
That's a perfect one, yes.
He's a baby puppy, so he's not really on the ground a ton, although there were times that I put him down on the ground and let him explore and sniff a little bit.
Right.
But for the most part, him just sitting with me in my lap while this game goes on. He gets to see all the kids running. There's other kids running around there, of course, that want to come over and say hello to the puppy, and I can do some controlled socialization in that scenario. So like, yeah, you know what? Hey, let me show you some of his tricks so that he's not just jumping all over the kids, because that's not the point either, right? I'm not creating a neutral experience if my dog goes, kids, and just like his little mind gets blown. I certainly don't want him going, kids, and I'm afraid of them.
Yes.
But I want him going, oh yeah, kids, great. Okay, what do you got for me? Like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life trying to control him every time he sees a child now because he's gotten used to being overstimulated as a puppy. I want to expose him to those kids. I want him to know that kids exist. They look different than the other type of people that he's going to be used to seeing. Yeah. They're a little bit shorter. You know, they move a little bit faster. They're a little bit more chaotic, but they're not a threat to him.
Right.
And they're also not every kid wants to be his best friend sort of thing. Yeah. So while I'm doing this socialization thing as well, I'm also teaching him manners at the same time. So in situations that are appropriate with kids, I'm teaching him to wait for permission to say hello. And then he gets to go and greet calmly in some way. But I'm going to facilitate that. Yes. So as an example, I might pick him up with the kids. So I might be holding him in arms if a kid is reaching in to say hello. And that way too, what I can do, he wasn't saying hello to a baby really, but a baby wanted to say hello to him, a baby.
A newborn.
How old? See, this is where I fall short is in the human age thing. I don't know. The baby was still up in arms maybe 7 months.
Okay, yeah.
6 or 7 months. Maybe
wanted to touch him wanted
to touch him. But of course, at that point, he was still all teeth and all nipping. Yes. Like, I don't want that, of course. I don't want him nipping a child. So at that point, when he was still, I think he was around, 11, 12 weeks, something like that, I had him up in arms, and I basically just said, hey, you know what, touch his little bum. So I turned his bum towards the baby, and the baby was able to, do the baby thing. Like, I apologize if the age is way off, and this is obviously not this young of a child. I'm not as good with children as I am with dogs. But yeah, like having that experience, right?
Yes.
No big deal. A child touches you. He wasn't worried about it. All he wanted to do was stick his face in there, and
I used to do that with Atari, my Sheltie. She was quite shy, kind of standoffish with people. Yeah. And the odd time there'd be a child that desperately wanted to pat her, and I would pick up Atari and kind of turn Atari's face away and let the child just touch her butt fur. She had lots of butt fur, and maybe I didn't want the kid reaching to Atari's face because that's her nightmare.
Absolutely,
but the odd time it'd be like I could see, or sometimes there'd be like an elderly person, and I thought, it's probably very beneficial for this elderly person to pat Atari. Yeah. So I'll just pick her up and let her stroke her side and that. Yeah. So that's the same thing. You don't have to present the dog's face to the person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So question for you then. Did you purposely go out of your way to avoid her having to interact with other people then, just to keep her safe?
Yes, Atari's worst nightmare was people approaching her. Yeah. Atari liked to pretend she was invisible. And the more she thought she was invisible, the braver she became with people. Yeah. So people would often, she was very cute, and people would often say, oh, can I pat your dog? And I would say, she's very shy. I'd say, you're the kindest thing you can do with her is to ignore her. Yeah. And I said, and as we're talking, she'll probably come up and sniff you, and you might be able to get a pat in then. And, sometimes if I talk to the person long enough, Atari said, oh, this person doesn't see me. I'm going to go up and sniff them. And, the person might reach down and just give her a little pet, and that was fine. Yeah. But as soon as someone reached out to her, she's like, no, you see me. I don't like you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's pressure, right? It's social pressure that we're putting on the dog, a dog that doesn't want to be social.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And this is a very different topic, of course. We're talking about shy and fearful dogs versus just your average dog for socialization. But it's so important. A lot of the times people think that making friends and having the people sort of force themselves on the dog and feed the dog and things like that are what is going to help the dog along. And truly the best thing that you can do with most of those fearful dogs is just not put that social pressure on them, Right. Make it a positive experience if you can. If there's a person that is hanging out 10 feet from you and you're having a conversation, feeding your dog while they're bravely sort of air scenting and trying to figure out that person is not a bad thing at all. But having the person reach in and try to force themselves, even with food on the dog, that can be the dog's worst nightmare. So, and a lot of the times people will actually sour the dog to food unintentionally. But, you know, the transfer of value happens in both directions. It can happen with things they don't like, and it can happen with things they do like.
Right.
So,
Yeah. It was the same bit with my dog Cowboy. She wasn't nervous or shy. She was just extremely aloof and just had very low value for other people other than her immediate family. So when people wanted to pat her, I'd often say, well, can she show you a trick? And I would do shake a paw or high five or a spin or something simple. And the person would be, and it kind of diffused. They never ended up patting her, but she got to show off a trick for them.
Perfect.
And that was better for her. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great way of helping your dog understand how to focus on you and listen to what you've asked in amongst distractions, etc. Plus you get to practice their tricks. Plus you get to show off their tricks.
Exactly.
People get to be amazed. Yeah, that's a great way of going about it.
And I just wanted to mention too about back to socializing. A lot of it can be done at home too.
Oh,
so
yes.
when I turn on my dishwasher and it starts humming and making noise, that's socializing for the puppy.
Yeah.
When I turn on my my lawnmower, I get out the lawnmower, I clunk, clunk, clunk out of the shed, I'm pulling it, I'm throwing the cord around, and my puppy's, playing near me. Like, that's socializing.
Yeah.
Then when I put the puppy away and they hear the lawnmower come on, that's socializing.
I'm glad you said you put the puppy away before the lawnmower comes on.
I do, yeah. When I get out my winter boots and start thumping around the house, that's socializing.
Absolutely.
So a lot of it happens at home, too.
Got it.
Yes.
Absolutely. And just exposure for your pup, having them walk over different floor surfaces, having them sniff different things, all of that stuff is preparing them for life, right? Preparing them to be neutral out there in the world with the things that they're probably going to be exposed to, the garbage trucks, the garbage cans, all of the things. All the things. Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely the walk is not necessary for socialization.
Right.
And the reason that you don't want to do the walk until your dog understands how to walk is because it's just going to make your life more difficult when it comes to teaching your dog how to walk if they've spent all this time rehearsing pulling and rehearsing all the wrong things.
Right.
So,
rehearsing ignoring you, rehearsing pulling. Now you have to go back and undo all that. So, yes, dog trainers are lazy. We don't want to have to undo all that work. So we start with a different type of socializing. And then when we start to train, it's so much easier than having to undo all that.
That's the book we need to write.
Right.
The Lazy Person's Guide to Dog Training. All right. I need my glasses, I think. I poked myself in the eyeball there. Okay. All right. My Australian Shepherd is 12 weeks old now. Aw, little 12-week-old Aussie
that would be
fluffy
cute.
Puppy. She has a lot of herding behaviors, and I'm having trouble breaking them, even towards me, which includes a lot of nipping. Any tips on getting these behaviors to go away? So, here's the thing. Genetics are there. They're always going to be there.
Yes.
And it's not about getting them to go away. It's about teaching the dog how to exist without tapping into those instincts for every single thing. So really, it's about creating skills. It's about creating emotional control. It's about teaching the dog what the expectation is.
Right.
And that's not an overnight fix. Here's the thing. We've been doing this for a long time. A long time. I've been 25 years. How long have you been doing this now?
Well, I've been head instructing obedience classes since I was 16. 16, and I'm 56.
Oh, that's a lot. What is that, like 82
40?
years?
No, what is that?
Yeah, it's 40.
40 years.
Yeah. So I think people have changed their expectations a lot in those 40 years.
Yes.
And at this point in our culture, it seems like we expect everything to be an easy gratification and an easy fix. And that's not the case with dogs.
Right.
It's like saying with a kid, well, I want him to be perfect, by the time he's 5. I want him to be perfect. Like you're still training at that point.
Yes.
You are still training until the creature is old enough to self-regulate and take care of their own things. And with dogs, that happens quicker than kids, of course, but we still need to give it time. Like Levon at 6 months, he's got some great basics. I've been working hard. I am definitely not lazy about his training in any way. I've been very thorough. Sorry, Honda, I didn't mean to tickle your ear there. I've been very thorough. I've done what I need to do in terms of creating the skills that I want him to have and be proficient at. So we've worked really hard at that. But do I think I'm done? You know, he's pretty reliable with listening at this point. I have a great response to name with him. He's got great stays. He's got really lovely walking. That was some work to get done.
Right,
but
yes.
at this point now, you know, it's all clicking and things are really lovely. And I enjoy him so much at this point because we have an ability to communicate, but it's not done.
Right.
It's definitely not done. And here's the thing. Right now, I'm enjoying the cooperativeness. I'm enjoying his understanding, and with my own understanding that he's just on the verge of adolescence.
Right.
So within about a month or maybe 6 weeks or so, he's probably going to start to notice more and more of the world. Again, like his world's just going to get more interesting and bigger for him. Right. And that's going to make him want to spend more time sniffing that thing, whatever that thing is. And there's a good chance that now when I call him, he's probably going to go, hang on, I'm sniffing this thing. I'll get back to you in a second. Because that's what happens with development, right? They age, they get older. Right. And I'm still going to make sure that I acknowledge well anytime I call him and he does respond. So at this point, I'm still doing a ton of reinforcing with him. You know, it's not always food. A lot of the times we play games. I run away. I pull out a toy. You know, there's all sorts of rewards that come from him giving me good responses. Right. But I have no doubt in my mind that those times when he goes, hang on, I'll get back to you in a second, those are coming. Right. So I need to make sure that I am prepared to hold him accountable and I'm prepared to work through that, which is all part of training, right? I'm not expecting that this is going to be done at this point. I've put in the work and I've put in the time, but I still don't expect that there's going to be this easy situation with him. I still have more work to do. And so I'm still having enough foresight to keep a long line on him, despite the fact that I haven't touched it in, I would say, at least a month and a half now. Yeah. I haven't touched
being prepared is, and,
exactly
right. And for a herding breed that's nipping, so you know you've purchased a herding breed, you know that it possibly could be very genetically predisposed to nipping.
Yes.
And it's been bred to do that for generations and generations.
And to move quickly and to chase moving things to do that nipping.
Right. Yes. Because, you know, like its ancestors would have been useless to a farmer. Yeah. It never would have been bred. A dog that won't herd would never have been bred. So be prepared. Yeah. So always have a house line on that puppy. Be one step ahead of the puppy. I'm always trying to be out of the gatehouse before the dog. And what are they going to do? So it's like, you know what? My puppy's laying chewing on a bone and I'm going to be getting up to walk to the kitchen. Yep. Chances are my puppy's going to say, that looks like a fun leg to chase. So I'm already in my mind starting to react before it's even a thought in the puppy's mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And the dog needs to have skills. Yes. You know, the dog needs to have skills and rules and understanding. And all of that comes with training and with tactics to make sure that the dog understands what's acceptable and what's not. That house line, such an important thing because dogs are quick and they learn, especially the dogs that are herding already, right? The dog that's already treating you like moving cattle. When you go to reach for it, that's like a cow kick, right? And that dog is predisposed to be avoiding those cow kicks. Right. So those dogs in an instant figure out how long your arms are, how quickly you can reach them. You might catch them once. Maybe twice if you're like a kung fu panda sort of person. Yeah. But if you're anything like the rest of us mortals, that's the last time you're catching that puppy without some sort of help. Yes. You know, without having a line on so that you can physically stop the dog from ducking out of the way and then coming back in for the regrip, right? Because chances are that's what they're going to do. That's what their genetics and their instincts are telling them to do. So,
and puppies will do things that we don't stop them from doing.
Exactly.
If we don't prevent it, then we're permitting it.
That's good. That's good. I like
that. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Perfect. Let's go to the next one.
Okay. Next question.
And the next question is,
how do you play the hallway game if you don't have anyone to play it with?
Oh, so this is with recalls.
Okay.
With recalls, yeah.
Right, yes.
So specifically the hallway game would be a hard one to do without a second person, but I use a lot of like restraints and things like that. What do you do for your recall work in the house?
In the house, what I do is I will get the puppy in front of me. and I'll bend down and I'll put my hand on the puppy's chest. So I'm holding the puppy back with one hand, and with the other hand, I have a treat or a toy, and I tease them and I hold it just out of reach. Woohoo, look what I got. Look what I got.
Yeah.
Get the dog all revved up, and then I release my hand on their chest and step quickly backwards, or I might, if I have enough room in my hall, turn and run with that treat held down low and let the puppy chase me.
I love it.
So I'm revving them up to play with me all by myself. So
fun.
Yeah, that's definitely a game you can play by yourself.
I love that. I have a couple of variations on that too that I'll play as well. They're very close, but one of them I can create a pulley system with 2 leashes, right? We've talked about this before. Some dogs get a little put off by this. So you have to know your dog with this one. If you have a dog that is very sensitive to leash pressure, they're probably not going to want to lean into it. But basically the idea is that one leash wraps around something and you use that leash to restrain the dog. So now my dog is being restrained by my leash wrapped around something. I might have another leash for safety because the leash that's wrapped around the thing is going to be let go.
Right.
What I'm doing is I'm teasing my dog. I can hold him back with the leash. And then as soon as I know he's raring to go, I'm going to let go of that leash and then I can run away from there. So I'm going to use my recall command in there, let go of the leash, run away, let him chase me. The other one that I do on that, it's very similar to what you do, but basically just out of the blue, I'll reach down and I'll give the puppy a little shove.
Right.
And then I take off running in the opposite direction. So like
that's a good one.
Yeah, hand on his chest. I might just give him a little shove in the opposite direction. Not anything to knock him off
yeah,
his feet,
just
but
like,
basically
woo.
just something that gets his attention and makes him go, what? And then as soon as he looks to see what's happening, I'm running away in the opposite direction so he gets to chase me.
That's not just something to do with a puppy. Like, that's something to do with an adult dog
and
for
it's something
fun.
to do with humans, too. I did this with Swanee before we came into the studio, and she's never gotten into that podcast chair so fast.
But I wouldn't maybe do it with Honda now. He's too old, but because he's 15 and a bit fragile. But, you know, with a dog that's 6, 7, or 8, what a fun game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the more fun your dog thinks you are, the more attention they're going to pay to you.
Absolutely.
Yes. Like,
that's why Honda was sitting with me earlier, by the way, just so you know.
Yes. When I go to a family get-together, I like to talk to the people in my family that are fun. There's some people in my family that aren't that fun, and I try not to talk to them. You know, I'm polite and cordial, but I tend to go over and hang out with the fun people.
Of course,
and so does your dog.
Yes.
If you're a boring sourpuss, your dog's going to go look for the fun.
Boring sourpuss. I love it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely true. Dogs are looking for that entertainment value as well.
Right. Yes.
Yep. Yes. So be goofy, be fun. Honestly, and I mean the shove would be relative to the dog, of course, as well. If I have a Great Dane, I can probably shove a little bit harder.
And then if you had an Italian Greyhound.
That poor thing. Oh my gosh. Woo! How did that dog just come out of the window?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, they're playing recall games. Oops. All right. Oh, I got the planted question.
Oh.
So this one I put in. We get a lot of questions on our YouTube channel, on our social media, on everything. We get questions galore. So it's great. We love the questions. However, remember that we're dog trainers. We're not medical professionals, and we're really good at putting up at saying, no, we will not answer medical questions. It's not our expertise. You know, we can give you anecdotal information out the wazoo. We have lots of experience with dogs and medical situations, but that doesn't make us worthy of giving advice.
No.
And unfortunately, these days on the internet, there's a lot of people who aren't as responsible as we are when it comes to saying, no, that is not my lane. I cannot step into that lane because I don't have expertise in that lane. I have my own anecdotal situations, of course, because, you know, after 5 minutes in dogs, you'll have your own anecdotal situations. But that doesn't make me qualified to give advice. So please know, if you ask us for medical advice, you know,
nutrition
advice, those things are not our expertise. We go to experts to gather that information as well. Like, I don't diagnose my own dog's medical issues. I go to a vet with my dog to get that support and that help. So please know that if you ask us a medical question, we're not going to answer. But also know that if you ask anybody out there a medical question who's not qualified to give you medical advice, they could be leading you down a very bad path.
Right, yes.
And truly, medical advice is something that is fairly sacred. We need to be very careful when it comes to our dog's health, because already we're guessing.
It's funny how people will ask us as dog trainers about their dog's health, but I would never ask my child's teacher a question about my son's health.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't, yeah.
Or would you consider going to going to a doctor and asking them about something about your car?
Right, yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's really, I'm sure they drove their car there
right,
that day to get to work, but does that qualify them to give car advice?
Right, yes, yeah. Now, that's what veterinarians are for.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that we go to, you call it Dr. Google all the time, and I laugh.
Dr. Google.
We go to Google, we expect to find
Google.
all the answers ourselves. But of course, if we don't have the medical understanding, then our suggestions are biased based on what we do know, which is purely anecdotal if we've not been trained in medicine.
And if you do check Dr. Google, eventually it has you dying. So, yeah.
Exactly. You have a sniffle? What?
What? Yeah. What do you mean your fingernail turned black? Oh, that your whole body will go black very soon.
Dr. Google takes no responsibility for this advice.
Right. Yes. It's like Dr. Nick. Dr.
Nick Riviera.
Yes.
There you go. There you go, Albert. That's for you. Hi, Dr. Nick.
Hi, everybody. Okay. Let's see. If you are training the dog to engage and be attentive to you in a quiet area, when I need to take the dog out where they are naturally more distracted, how do I not ruin all the training that's been done when he pulls?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yes. Well, chances are he's not ready to be heading out. I like to get my skills done in the quiet area and down pat, and I will only then start to move into distracted areas and start training in them. Yeah. A lot of people make he's trained in the yard, I'm going to take him to Home Depot. And Home Depot and your yard are such a different place. Dogs are situational.
Yeah. So here's the thing. If you can take that big scenario and figure out how to make it a little bit smaller and expose the dog to it with training and expectations in a smaller scale, then that's a great way of looking at it, right? Mm-hmm. So as an example, I've recently moved to a smaller town than what I've been used to. And there is a giant Home Hardware in my small town that's closed on Sundays, which is cool.
They roll up the sidewalks.
Yeah. You know what? It's really neat.
I like that. I like that old. Yeah.
So when Levon was a baby on Sundays, that was one of our planned outings. Right. I would go in and work with him in the parking lot in Home Depot. And I would go really early to the Canadian Tire parking lot before people got there, and the Sobeys parking lot before people got there. And I would do some training. And like the first couple of outings with him, 10 minutes. Yep. And then he was back in the car and we were headed back home. I mean, it's only an 8-minute drive for me. Right, so it's not a big time investment to go into town with him. I would hope that everybody has something that they can get to within about a 10-minute drive. Right, and then you can spend 10 or 15 minutes with your puppy working on the simple things.
Right.
The other thing that I find that people often sort of get disconnected with is they head out after doing some training and some steps at home. They then head out and they expect finished product with the dog.
Right.
And that's not realistic. You know, you need to add in the distractions and then do little bits of the same training you've been doing at home.
Yes.
So as an example, you know, our Puppy Essentials program is 4 weeks of skills. They're progressional skills. So you start with the basic behaviors and you start with the basic things that you're teaching. So for example, with response to name on lesson 1, I'm basically just teaching my dog that their name is a very pleasant thing, right? So I'm saying their name, I'm delivering food. I'm saying their name, I'm delivering food. Then I'm maybe saying their name with a cookie on their nose, turning them right back to me. So I'm doing this step at home. Now I want to go out on my porch and I want to do this step on my porch. And then I want to go to my grass and I want to do the step on my grass. And then I might put my dog in the car and I might go to that empty Home Hardware parking lot and I might do that step in the Home Hardware parking lot. I'm not expecting my dog to understand the full skill and to give me that full skill when I go into a distracting environment.
Right. Yes. We need to help them.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like climbing a ladder. You're building one step on top of the other. But think about what you're adding. If you're already changing the environment, you're already making it harder for the dog. If you're then expecting something completely different from them, you're making it 10 times harder for the dog. So make one little thing harder at a time, right? If it's the environment, it's the environment. You're practicing the same skill that you were working in the quieter environment, now in the busy environment, right? If it is the progression of the skill, keep the environment the same. Make that progression, get it well oiled, and now change the environment, but keep working at that progression, right? Like, try not to throw so many different new things at the dog all at once.
Yes. We always, a common phrase we always hear is he does it at home.
Yeah.
People often, he does it at home, and it's like, we know he does it at home, but you're not home right now. And, we need to backtrack a few steps and help him.
Yeah.
He's overfaced right now. And yes.
Yeah, that is hard. That is definitely hard. Alrighty. It's a lot of work to train a dog. That's the thing. And sometimes there's backslides, and we don't necessarily know where to place those in the order of things. So then it feels like everything's just falling apart. And really, just keep training.
Right.
Just keep training.
Yeah.
It'll
A lot of people give up at that point, in that messy middle, we call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. People will give up, but don't give up. Just keep working through it.
Exactly. Absolutely. Alrighty. Okay, I am a single woman with an 8-month-old puppy. Okay, so 8 months old is old to be saying puppy. That's sort of an adolescent now. I'm having a hard time socializing her if a dog park isn't an option. What other options would you suggest? So again, that critical socialization window is closed by 8 months. If you are looking for social opportunities with your dog at 8 months, it's about fun. It's about exercise. It's about engagement with another dog. It's not about socialization anymore at that point. So not in the way that we use socialization in a term in society.
You know what I would say to that lady?
What's that?
I would say join a local obedience class.
Yeah, I love that idea.
You can get out, and your dog is seeing other dogs, working around other dogs. You can chat with other dog owners. So social for you. You're learning something.
Building skills.
Yes. Yeah. I would say if you're looking for a social experience with an untrained dog, you join a class.
Yeah, I do love that idea.
Yes.
I think that's great. That would definitely be my choice.
Yes.
That would definitely be how I would do things.
Yeah.
But if I just wanted an opportunity for my dog to play with other dogs, I would figure out some way of finding dog friends that I knew were safe.
Yes.
It's not a necessity for your dog to play with other dogs. You get better social benefits by walking by another dog on the street without letting them interact than you do by letting them interact, because you never know if that social outing is going to go wrong. Dog parks, they can be a crapshoot.
Oh,
you know, you may go and you might have the most wonderful time because your dog has a playtime with a dog that matches their play style, and lucky enough that they enjoyed each other's company. You might go and you might have a dog that does not match your dog's play style, and there might be a scuffle, or your dog might get bowled over, or there's my seal noise. Or. We can't predict with the anonymity factor and you not knowing those dogs. You can't predict how friendly or how well things are going to go. You would have to pay me millions of dollars to have me even step foot inside a dog park.
I cringe when I see them. Yes. Like Honda would love to play tag with a dog. He would just like to run and chase and then have the dog chase him. Yeah. They never really touch each other. They just kind of chase each other about. So his nightmare would be if like a Labrador or a Golden Doodle suddenly said, "Let's wrestle," and pounced on him. He would be terrified.
Yeah.
Why would I do that to my dog? Why?
No, definitely not.
Yes.
Definitely not. Well, and you just never know what is going to happen at the dog park. We have the benefit of hearing so many stories.
Yes.
And that shapes our opinions, but it's just not worth the risk.
Right.
It truly is not worth the risk. So socializing opportunities for a dog that's 8 months old. I love the idea of class. You're brilliant. Love it. You can go and work your dog outside the dog park.
Right.
I wouldn't hesitate to do that. If I knew that the situation outside the park was controlled and there's not loose dogs there that are going to come and jump on my dog's head, I would absolutely use that distraction to work on skills, or even just to play with my dog. Yeah. Bring a tug toy along, do some tugging out, teach the dog that even in the presence of other dogs, they can engage and focus on you. They can play with you, and you're a worthy plaything. Yeah. Plaything as well. Yeah. But it doesn't come with that same risk.
Right.
So
yes. And I think what happens is dogs are curious about other dogs. So when you're walking down the street, it's very natural for your dog to start to gawk at another dog. And our human nature is, you're interested. You must want to meet them.
Yeah.
But that's not, they're just curious and they're gawking. It's like little kids, in their buggy when they parents are pushing them by in their stroller, they'll often stare at you. But that doesn't mean they want me to run over and start playing with them. They just...
It might.
Yeah.
You should try that with any person that looks at you.
Right, yeah. Hey! But I think that's what people mistake. It's like, oh, look, my dog's really looking at that dog. He must want to meet him. But no, they don't.
Yeah.
They're just like little kids. They gawk at things and...
It's true.
Right, yeah. Like Honda loves to stare through the fence at our neighbors when they're out barbecuing. Like, and if I did that, our neighbors would think I was the creepiest person in the world.
But of course, they probably think Honda's adorable.
Right, yeah. They probably, oh, look at Honda's watching us barbecue. That's so cute. And it's not that Honda wants to meet them.
No, and if it was you, they'd be like, that weird neighbor's watching us again.
Right.
Shh, Hank, don't look over now. But do you see her? She's at the fence.
Right.
The dog's with her. Okay, that must be safe.
But yeah,
okay.
Just because your dog's looking at the golden retriever across the street does not mean your dog wants to go over and meet them.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's true. It's very normal for them to notice and take note of another dog, especially if you have a dog that has territorial tendencies and if you walk the same routes every day, they do start to become territorial about that space. Some dogs do. So yeah, that definitely.
Right. Yeah, and they're often genetically programmed too to take to be aware of their environment.
I'm just laughing. I'm going to go. I don't have a fence line to stare at my neighbors, but I'm going to go through the tree line and I'm just going to like stick my head through like The Shining. Like, when Homer, like in that episode, he morphs through the bushes into Ned's yard.
Well, I told you I got lost in the forest not too long ago, and I popped out on a golf course. All of a sudden, I'm like, no idea where I am in this forest. And I pop out and I'm at a green and there's men on the green. Now, I don't know if they saw me or not, but if they did, they would have just seen me pop out of the forest and then morph back into the forest.
Do you know what it reminds me of when you tell that story? Do you remember the movie Nell with Jodie Foster?
No.
I haven't seen it in decades. It's an older movie, but basically she somehow, I can't even remember the pretense of how, but somehow she's like raised out in the wild. And then she's found at a certain age and she has no social skills or anything. But I imagine her like you coming out of the woods and going, oh, it's a big wide world out here. And then sucking back into the woods. Yes. I don't want to be out here.
Actually, what I should do, I'm going to go back and I'm going to get a set of old-timey golf clubs.
Old-timey.
And wear old-timey.
Old gray mare, she ain't what she
and
used
get
to
some
be.
old-timey golf clothes.
Old-timey?
And then I'm going to walk out and I'll look like I'm someone from the 1920s. And I'll say, finally found my ball. Or it'll be like if they built Field of Dreams.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it'll be like I walked out.
If you build it, they will come.
Right, yeah. That'd be so fun. That'd be a good candid camera episode.
You know what? We need to like start a YouTube channel doing these random things.
Yeah.
You'd be brilliant at that.
That would be so much fun to do. Yeah, and see people when this person all dressed up in 1920s comes out with their old clubs. Old-timey times. We'll do that. We'll become old-timey dog trainers.
Old-timey dog trainers. Oh, my gosh.
No, we won't use their methods, though. We'll use our methods, but we'll dress like old-timey.
That's scary. Oh, my gosh. Alrighty. I think that... is it you or me?
It's me.
Okay.
I think it's the last one.
No, it is.
It is. Okay.
Better be a good one.
Walks are for how long, especially if the weather is hot?
Oh, yeah. So I include some of these questions because I think this is a really good discussion to have. So what does your gut say about applying a formula to this? Dangerous, right?
Yeah, and common sense.
Yeah.
I don't walk my dogs in extremely hot weather.
Yeah.
There's no need to do that.
Yeah. So a good rule that I've always heard and that I do actually use, even though now I don't have sidewalks that I have to worry about, which is nice, is if you put the back of your hand, not the palm of your hand, because that's a lot more tolerant. Right. Put the back of your hand against the concrete and feel what it feels like. If it's too hot for the back of your hand, it's probably going to be too hot for your dog's paws.
Yes.
So my thinking about this is that this is all relative stuff.
Yes.
You need to know your dog. You need to know what they're capable of, what their fitness level is, what their age level is.
Yeah.
Like I would probably consider things very differently for Ned, who doesn't have a lot of heat tolerance. than I would for Levon, who is proving to not really care too much about heat.
Yeah.
So I'm going to always be cautious because heat-related stress is not a good thing to put any dog through. You need to keep an eye out, watch for signs, know the signs of heat stroke, right? Yep. The curled tongue, the excessive panting, the, change in eyes and change in body holding and all of the things that would indicate that there's something going on with the dog, that they're too warm, too hot. It should go without saying that you should never leave your dog in a locked car.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Temperature-wise, if the sun is beating down on that car, the vehicle gets incredibly hot incredibly quickly. I don't think this is news to anyone, but anything that
but people do it every year.
Yeah, we hear stories all the time, and it's just amazing that people don't understand how detrimental this is. Like it really.
And dogs don't sweat like people either.
Exactly.
So they can't get rid of that heat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about when you first get in the car. When we got in the car to come over here today, it was like, oh gosh, it's hot in here.
The first thing I did was unroll the window.
Yeah, absolutely. And today's not even a super hot day.
Right.
So I mean, I'm wearing a sweater.
Right. I'm in shorts and a t-shirt.
You are. I happen to have crops
I'm holding on to summer. Yeah. Summer's not leaving. As long as I'm dressed for it, it's here.
Hey, I'm good. I hope that that's true. And I want you to wear a string bikini then, because I'm not ready for the weather to turn cold. Oh, we can sing another song now.
And if it's a hot day and I desperately want to take my dog out, then I'm going to maybe drive to the forest.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what, let's walk along a shaded area. Maybe there's a little stream there you can wander through.
Too.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yes. We've had some really hot weather in Southern Ontario, and I've seen people out with dogs, and I think, what are they thinking? Your dog does not need to go for a walk in the hot. And if they do, just make it short around the block. No marathons.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep that in mind for sure. Know your dog as well, because a hot day for one dog might not be that hot for another dog, but that not so hot day might be a boiling day for one dog.
Right.
Like you really do need to
especially a pure black dog would just suck in the heat.
Brachiocephalic dogs are short-nosed breeds, pugs,
French bulldogs.
CKC Spaniels. I actually lived with the CKC Spaniel for a year or so. And it was a real eye-opener.
Right.
Because that dog got hot at the drop of a hat, and that dog did a lot of panting at the drop of a hat, and he couldn't breathe easily. He snored louder than actually when he first came to live with me. He was overweight as well, and while he was overweight, he snored so loud that he could not sleep in my bedroom. I could not have his crate in my bedroom because it would keep me up. He snored so loud. And as the weight came off, he snored less and less. So that improved.
Right.
But it was so obvious that this dog has struggles breathing, even in great temperatures.
Right, yeah.
In the heat, he would overheat way faster than any dog I would have thought. So, your Boston Terriers, things like that as well. Some of them have a little bit more nose. Right. But the ones with the really short nose, they can struggle. So you need to be very aware of that. Even the really fit in shape ones. Know your dog. Yeah.
So if you're thinking about getting a puppy and you love the summer and love the heat, think about your breed too. Yeah, because some breeds do better in heat than others.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, think about that. And another thing too is you should not shave double-coated breeds. We were up at the cottage back in the middle of the summer, and there was a man shaving. I walked by a man shaving a Newfoundland down, and I thought, that's the worst thing you can do for that dog. That coat is their protection against the sun and the heat.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really does protect, and it insulates. That inner coat, the double coat, is what keeps the dog cool and warm.
Yes.
Like there's benefits to that. And then when you shave it, it changes the texture of the coat as well. If you do want to trim up and lessen the coat on an older dog, with Jaden, I used to trim on the inside of his thighs because especially for him in the summer, he would swim a lot.
Right.
And that really thick coat on the inside of his thighs would end up not drying. And he would almost get like this like funky, fungusy odor that would start coming from him. And then I would start trimming that up. But if you go to a groomer who has some talents, they can shave areas that will help your dog stay cool without removing that protective layer.
Right. So, well, I know they'll put a thermometer on top of a dog, and then they'll put a thermometer way deep
Yeah.
down at their skin level. And at their skin level, they're super cool.
Yeah, it's amazing the difference. Actually, on that same note, now that I have a pond on my property, I use fairly natural dog shampoo, and I will just use the pond to bathe my dogs. And when I'm bathing the dogs, they have an extremely different reaction to the water than when they are just swimming in it. When Ned just jumps in and swims out, he's like, "Yep, this is great. Life is great." He's dry almost instantly.
Yeah.
When I shampoo and I make that undercoat get wet, he's really different about how gentle he goes into the water. Like, you can tell he feels it incredibly differently because I've opened up his skin to the water instead of just letting it seal as it normally would. So really interesting stuff.
It is.
Observe the dog in their natural state. You learn all sorts of great things.
And groomers are a great source of information too. So don't forget your groomer. They'll be able to help you with brushes and different tools.
Absolutely.
And, little tricks and that for keeping your dog cool in the summer.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And those little tricks can really, really help a lot. So there's great things like cooling mats and whatnot these days that you can also get to quickly help cool your dog down a little bit. But
shade is your friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And we have a great video on heat-related stress. So if you look that up on our YouTube channel, you'll get all sorts of great learning and great facts. All right.
Right.
Any other fun facts?
Nothing to do with dogs, no.
Oh.
No.
What fun facts do you have that don't have to do with dogs?
Well, I don't know if I can think of anything worthy to share at the moment.
Honda's got something to say.
Honda, come on up and talk. Come on up. What do you got to say? Oh, you know what? He does it at home. He does it at home. He talks at home.
In the podcast.
He talks at home.
All right. Well, thank you for that outro, Honda. On that note, I'm Instructor Shannon.
Instructor Swati.
Happy training.
Happy training.
The McCann Dogs Podcast is brought to you by McCann Professional Dog Trainers. We help dog owners to have a well-behaved, four-legged family member. Please give us a call at 905-659-1888 or visit us at mccanndogs.com. Happy training!